So what is structure? Explain the C syntax of structure declaration with example. Okay, so this is one of the question asked from model question paper of BTU. Okay, model question paper. So before going on to the topic, you should know why do we want a structure. Okay, so let me come from the beginning. If you want to store a data, what did you use? You used some variable, right? You will use a variable to store the data. Okay, and this variable used to be of different data types. It may be of integer, it may be of character, it may be of float, right, etc. Okay, so if I want to store the data of the same data type, then for example, if you want to store the roll number or USN number of the students in a whole class, maybe you want to store the student roll number of 60 students, then you went for the concept of array, right, since it is of the same data type, integer. Now suppose if you want to store the data of different data types. Okay, so for example, if you want to store the data of a student, so the student will be having what are the different data the student will be having. One is, let me take for example roll number, the second will be the name of the student, then the marks of the student, right? Then you will be having a fee structure, admission, whether it is CET, or you have many data. Similarly, if you want to store the data of a patient in a hospital, okay, patient's name, patient age, then patient's disease, patient's BP, sugar, etc. So for all real-time example, it is very important that you will be having the data of different data types. Some will be integers, some will be characters, some will be float, etc. There you can make use of what is called a structure. The structure creates a template of different data types. Okay, you can store the data of different data types. So what is meant by a structure? A structure is same as that of the records. It stores related information about an entity. Structure is basically a user defined data type. Okay, so previously till now, what data types have you studied with the keywords int, data, float, etc. But here in this structure, it is we can define the data type. Okay, so it is defined by the user. I'll tell you in the forward concept. User defined data type that can store a related information even of different data types together. So this is the very important concept. The it is of information will be of different data types. It can be of integer, it can be a combination of character, it can be a combination of float, a long, etc. Okay, the structure is declared using the keyword. So this is your syntax of your structure. Okay, so it is declared using the keyword struct. What is the keyword used? Struct followed by a structure name. So see here, this will be a struct. Keyword is everything is by small letter. So the keyword used is, first you have, this is your declaration. Okay, so how will you declare? First you have your keyword struct followed by the structure name. All the variables of the structures are declared within the structure. Now, so see here inside, so struct, for example, I am writing struct, this is your keyword. Let me take the struct name, let me take the example of student itself. Okay, so struct student. Now student will be your structure name. Okay, structure name. Okay, then open the curly braces, right? Data type, variable name, data type, variable. So how many number of variable you have to use? You can use the data type. For example, int roll number. Roll number is in the form of integer, end with a semicolon. Then if you have name, right? Second one, the name of the student we can take. So what will be your data type? Character, student name. Okay. So similarly, you can take the marks, float, marks of the student. Okay, so these are called as the members of the structure. Okay, so you can add many number of variables here of different data types, always end with a semicolon. Okay, so this is very important, always end with a semicolon. So this is your declaration of your structure. And see here, as I have written here, they have given example: struct student, integer roll number, character, name of size 20. So it is an array, right? name of size, maximum size is 20, character course, it is taken array 20, float fees, and close the curly braces, end with a semicolon. So this is your declaration of your structure. Okay, I hope that you would have understood the concept. This can be applied in any, if you want to store the value of data of the cars, then cars will become a structure. So depending on the, since here it is a student database, I have given it as your student. So now this struct plus student will become your data type. Okay, so how will you previously how you used to write int variable, right? Data type, variable name, then ends with a semicolon. Now instead of this data type, here you are going to use the data type as struct student will become the data type. So this is your user. This is called as user defined data type. You are defining the data type. Okay, so this student, struct student together forms the data type. The student is not a variable. Okay, so the structure, very important concept is that the structure, when it is declared, it will not allocate the memory space. It gives only the template how the structure should be. Okay, and these are called as your members of your structure. Okay, are able to understand the concept. Memory is not allocated. That is what written in the next point. I think the structure definition does not allocates any memory. It gives just a template that conveys to the C compiler how the structure is laid out in memory and gives details of the member names. Memory is allocated for the structure when we declare a variable of the structure. Now, what is your keyword? Keyword is equal to, sorry, what is your data type? Struct student is your data type, right? Just like that of an integer, how you declare. Now, to the struct student, you can add a variable. So, let me take S1. Now this S1 is nothing but your variable. So struct student is your data type and S1 is your variable. That is what written here. Memory is allocated for the structure when we declare a variable of the structure. So this is your variable of the structure, struct student. Are you able to understand? Okay. So for example, we can define a variable of student by writing. See here, this becomes the data type, struct student stud1. So stud1 student1 becomes your variable. So now the memory will be allocated. I hope you are able to understand this. Okay. So the next type of declaration is called as type def declaration. So in the case of type def declaration, you are going to short your data type. Okay. So see here, if you using a keyword type def before your struct student or your before your data type, then you can form a new data type, that is the student will become the new data type, new type. See here, when we precede a struct name with a type def keyword, then the struct becomes a new type. It is used to make the construct shorter. This is the only use. So for example, if you write the normal declaration, then what you will write struct. So this is a small letter, okay, struct. Then you will be using the structure name, right? Structure name, then you will open the braces, you will be writing the data type, variable, all the members will be written, end with a semicolon. Okay, then when the memory will be allocated, after this the memory will be allocated when you use the struct student, then you will be declaring a variable. Let me take S1. Now this will become your data type and this is your variable. So if you use a type def before this keyword, then actually your, instead of writing struct student, you can cut short it into the student becomes the new data type. So it can be made in a shorter form. That is the only use of this type def declaration. This is also a manner in which you can declare it, because in order to make the or short your data type. Okay, so when we precede a structure name with a type def keyword, then the struct becomes a new data type. New type, it is used to make the construct shorter with more meaningful names for the type already defined by C, and or for the types that you have declared. With a type def declaration becomes a synonym for the type. For example, writing, see here, type def struct student. This is the only difference what you are going to add. int roll number, character name, char course, float fees, and with a semicolon. Now that you have preceded the structure's name with a keyword type def, the student becomes a new data type. So instead of writing always struct student, you can write it as student itself. Therefore, you can straight away declare the variables of this new data type as you declare variables of the type. So for example, how will you declare the variable int a, right? Similarly, instead of int here, you can write student S1. Okay, now S1 becomes the variable similar to A, and instead of int, you can write it as student, whatever your user defined data type. So you don't have to write always struct student. So in order to make it shorter, you can just declare it by using a type def declaration. So this is your both the declaration of your structures in C.